Danny here. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to go ahead and talk about The Suicide Squad, not to be mistaken with the 2016 version of the movie. With me today, I have DanMan joining me. We're going to go ahead and talk about the movie. We recently watched it on HBO Max. All I got to say is that I enjoyed the movie and I enjoyed it a lot. But Dano, what were your thoughts on it?
I thought it was a great sequel slash reboot to what they started a couple of years ago. It was really, really entertaining. Just hits the floor running, and the pace is pretty good. And it was an overall just really fun movie. Good characters, a great banter and back and forth between a lot of characters, and good action. Just a great summer flick. What did you think?
I enjoyed it, man. Like, I knew it was going to be good, right? Some of the reviews came out and I was like, okay, great. I didn't want to read anything. I didn't want to see anything. I just kind of wanted to go into the movie knowing as little as possible because it really kept all the surprises. It did a great job to hold you in from like the very first shot of the movie, the way it was filmed, and you kind of see how camera starts flipping. Like from that very first shot, it tells you we're going to throw everything upside down. Whatever you're thinking this is going to be completely different. So I thought it was awesome. There were a lot of great surprises, a lot of funny moments. Ask you, which of the characters stood out to you the most?
I really liked John Cena's character.
Peacemaker, yeah.
Yeah, he was awesome. John Cena played it real well. He looks like a superhero because of his physique. But the way he did a great job acting, and his rivalry with Idris Elba's character was great. It was just really fun to watch them together. And but yeah, I really like John Cena's character, even though he got made fun of for having a toilet seat on his head, which was a great joke. And that's what made this movie fun, is that they, like you said, they kept coming with surprises. Like every few minutes, there was just something new information in the movie about that made it fun.
It was funny. It had very emotional moments with the characters, and very subtle too. You felt for these characters. You were hoping that some of these dudes wouldn't die, but I mean, considering the movie that it is, a lot of the people or a lot of the characters you kind of started getting attached to kind of got off.
Which was done in spectacular fashion.
Yeah.
Like, characters' heads were blown off. Like, it was unreal.
Yeah, and that was the thing about this movie, is that it was so stylish. Even the death scenes of the main characters was done really well. It was either humorous, emotional, or unexpected. The action and the violence was gory, but gory in a comic book-ish kind of way, which didn't make it too unbearable.
Yeah, they had a lot of scenes that were very they looked like they could be still frames from a comic book page and things like that, from a strip.
Yeah,
like that part where they go to rescue Harley, and that becomes Operation Harley, I think it was.
Yeah.
And they gotta go rescue. So it's cool how like the fire in the background just kind of changed the title of what their next mission is.
Yeah, exactly.
Her little side story thing was really awesome. How she was able to escape on her own, and it was just cool to watch. Like she was just waiting for an opportunity to get out of there. When she only had to deal with one bad guy, she was like, "All right, now I can handle my business."
Yeah. You see Harley going off on her little adventure, and you see how she feels like this princess, she's being treated like royalty. And then she falls for the dude, and, they're getting down or whatever. But then there's that moment where he's talking about his plan and what he wants to do with Starro. She pops him, right? Like, she shoots him right there and then. And she has this whole monologue, and she's telling the story of like, hey, I promised myself that next time I see some red flags, I'm just going to shoot the dude, because I'm not going to go through all this again. And she's talking from like deep from within her heart. And you see this dude like dragging himself on the floor, but like, where it's coming from. Like, she's been, mistreated. She's been abused, and she's kind of moved on from that, right? It's like, oh, I'm not going to be abused. I'm not going to be this victim to the Joker anymore. It was sort of like this deep view of what Harley was going through emotionally. And you don't see it just with her, but you see it with all the other characters throughout the film as well.
That's really good. Like that you observed that, and it's right on point with how the story progressed.
Yeah.
And it led up to the third act and how it all connected.
First after credit scene with Weasel coming back. What did you think about that, happening at the very end?
That was really, really hilarious. It was so funny to watch that because I thought that was the end of it. And of all things that they could have recalled, like they're going back to that part, and it was just cool to watch. It was just funny. It was just really funny.
Well, what makes me laugh is that if you go back to that scene after that whole scene was hilarious, right? Like when he jumps into the water from the helicopter and he's trying to swim, and the crew back in the office was like, "Yo, did anybody know he couldn't swim?" And you see Amanda Waller pissed when they tell her he's dead. Like, he was probably the key part of the whole plan. It's like they needed him, and he died at the very beginning of the movie. Then at the end, when they show him coming alive, I was like, of course. I mean, he's a weasel. Like, he didn't really die. He pretended because he didn't want none of that. Like, he knew it was a suicide. Exactly. Like, he pretended to be dead through the entire movie because he knew things were going down and he didn't want anything to do with it. That whole beginning scene was pretty fun. They give you the intro of all of these characters, and you're like, oh, okay, this is going to be the squad, right? And then within the first 10 minutes of the movie, they all die. And then you have like this scene saying, oh, Team 2 on the other side of the island. And you're like, oh, this is the actual team we should be following, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty fun. And then, you see the whole Suicide Squad intro, right? Like, this is where the movie really begins.
It wasn't your typical, like, we round up these heroes to take care of business. It's like, they did that, but that ended like 10 minutes into the movie.
Right, exactly.
The other hilarious thing was the polka dot dude.
Oh,
polka dot man. His mother. He kept seeing his mom. Everybody, and that was just funny how they implemented this woman's face onto like all the heroes of the mission, and or even the giant starfish thing, like
Starro, funny. What did you think about Starro?
It was a good adversary at the end, like it's like this giant monster that they just gotta defeat, and it's going to town, and this looks like some kind of foreign country that they're in. It was cool because Starro also had like these little shoots out like these little minion things that take over soldiers. So he was slowly starting to create his own army on the ground. It was a good adversary for them because so to defeat something like that, they all had to work together. Everybody had to do something to bring that thing down.
There were so many payoffs in this movie. The whole scene with the javelin when he died at the beginning and Harley's next to him and he's trying to tell her like he didn't finish his sentence, and throughout the whole movie she was trying to figure out, okay, what's the purpose of this javelin? Well, she was able to come in from up top and just like go right through his eye, which that scene was freaking awesome, man. It was wild. It was crazy how they did that.
There was a lot of crazy scenes in that movie, man.
Like,
between that and the shark ripping people apart, a lot of crazy stuff.
No, it was crazy because the Captain Boomerang died at the beginning. I was like, damn, that was quick. I kind of thought he would last a little bit longer. Polka Dot Man, going back to him, he went out like a Viking. Like he saw his mom. It was like retribution, man. Like, Lord, this is what you did to me as a kid, Mom.
Yeah, it's funny how you're mentioning like the more emotional connections, and then there's I don't know her name, the one that controls the rats, and she was thinking of how she grew up with her father. Yeah, she was, reminiscing and remembering how she was living with her father, and the rats kept them warm. And, like just the ties that they have into these, in the way that they act. You know what was really funny? The guys who help run the Suicide Squad, that they
Oh
basically
yeah,
are working in the office and they're taking bets.
yeah,
And like,
yeah,
and at one point they collect. One of the guys collects the money. It's like they're taking this whole stuff real serious. Like they've done this before. People die. And not
yeah.
everybody makes it. So it's like, who
Yeah,
you
I
got your
thought that
money
was
on?
hilarious.
It was
Yeah, it's funny
so
because
funny.
Amanda Waller comes in at the beginning. What are you all doing? Viola Davis was great. Like she did such a
Yeah.
great job in that movie. I mean, and even in the first one, the original Suicide Squad movie, for all its faults, it had some good things to it. Some really good performances, and Viola Davis was one of them. I'm so happy they brought her back.
Yeah.
Because when this movie was first announced, it was supposed to be sort of like a reboot. Then they kind of mentioned it was a reboot, sequel. So even though they didn't really address much of what happened in the first movie, you saw some return characters, right? You see Amanda Waller, Rick Flag, Harley Quinn, Boomerang, and there's this history that was there before, but we're doing our own thing now. So that was really cool, and I really liked how they referenced the comic books. When Amanda Waller was talking about Bloodsport, she mentioned the reason he went behind bars was because he put Superman in the ICU for shooting him with a kryptonite bullet, and that's straight out of the comic books. That's what that character is famous for, and that was it.
Yeah, that was one of those nice little surprises. One of many that this movie has.
It was the second after credit scene, right, where they show you Peacemaker in the hospital, and you see the two analysts talking about like, oh yeah, we're here to see him, and we're gonna save the world. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's something to look forward to. Yeah, Peacemaker was the bomb. It was dope. When he was being super competitive and like shooting stuff, like that was just hilarious. Like they're just walking around, going back and forth shooting things, and it was just great to see. I'm already looking forward to the next one. This is a really great step in the right direction for the characters that DC has. It was a great mix of character and action and humor. And it wasn't so much of a build-up of a story. The story evolves as we're watching it.
Well, for me, I want to see more Harley Quinn. So whether that's in the next Suicide Squad movie, great. Although I will say, if there's another movie that I would love for James Gunn to do, is probably a Harley Quinn movie. Birds of Prey, wasn't a big fan of that. Again, some fun moments. Margot Robbie just nails it every time. But if we can get a full movie the way we got that little short story and that little adventure that Harley Quinn was on, like I can see a full feature length movie like that. All right, well, thank you so much for watching this video. What did you think of the movie? Drop any comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up. Feel free to share. If you want to stay up to date with my content, hit the notifications bell and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, that's a wrap. Thanks for watching.